Well, I'm thrilled to welcome a musician who shares a deep affection for guitarist Lenny Breau, Bobby Stanton. Bobby is a master guitarist, acclaimed performer, award-winning songwriter, and a world-class educator who is a faculty member of Berklee College of Music. His career spans decades of making music of one kind or another. He's also a graduate of Berklee and made history as the first student to ever receive Berklee's prestigious Ovation Award, highlighting him early on as a singular talent with extraordinary potential. As a performer, he has shared the stage with an astonishing roster of legendary artists: James Taylor, Bo Diddley, Hal Blaine, Charlie Daniels, Noel Redding, Gillian Welch, Susan Tedeschi, The Temptations, The Drifters, and way too many to mention. We would probably need an extra 30 minutes just for my intro to list all the performers he's worked with. Bobby is also a deeply respected educator known for his uplifting and accessible and highly effective teaching approach. His work even extends into technology, as we will soon learn. There's a lot to get into. Bobby Stanton, welcome and thanks for being part of this interview.
Thank you.
Part.
It's great. Yeah.
So I want to get into more about you and your background, but first, let's just talk about Lenny.
Oh man, my favorite subject.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in Nashville. Well, I grew up playing that kind of music, Chet Atkins and all that sort of stuff, fingerstyle,
Yeah.
and learned all that stuff. And then Lenny Breau came along, and he was just immediately just mind blowing as a guitarist. He did things that nobody else did. Fast forward, I moved to Nashville, and he was down there. So I was fortunate enough. I went into a music store. I mean, I was learning his records. I think it was the Velvet Touch is the one I was, and I was working really hard on it. And I went into a music store, and there was a little card on the bulletin board that said "Study with Lenny Breau, lessons with
Wow.
Lenny." Yeah, with a phone
What
number.
music store was it? Wasn't Cotton Music, was it?
No, it was O'Donnell's. Wow, that
Oh,
would
okay. Okay.
be music. Yeah, I think it was O'Donnell's. I don't think they're there anymore. But so I did that, and I called up, and I got a hit. At that time, his wife was Jewel, right?
Hmm.
And so she set it up, and it was a great introduction. So he was living, I think Chet helped him out, and he was living on Music Row, like 17th or something over there. And I went to his house, and I was with a friend came because he just wanted to meet him. And so he, welcomed us in, and he was just such an incredible guy.
I have a feeling I might have been at that place, not inside. But do you remember, was he living with Stephen D. Anderson then? Is that the same place?
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
when I would go over there would always be like a group of like the greatest guitar players in the world standing around outside, in his backyard there. And it's just like, oh my God.
Did it almost seem like it was more like a hotel, like just like a little?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looked like, yeah, it looked like a hotel room.
Because Stephen D. Anderson took me to that spot. And I did take pictures, except I think I lost the film somewhere. Like he took me around Nashville and all the places that they would hang out and all that stuff. But sorry to cut you off there. It was
Oh
just
no,
wanted
no,
to interject.
I
I
love
was like,
hearing
as
this
soon
stuff.
as you said Music Row, it's like, yeah, I think I know. I can picture vaguely in my mind because though, geez, that was like a
Yeah,
long time ago. That was like
yeah,
almost
me too.
25 years ago
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you showing me around.
Um, yeah, and I just thought the other place where I would really see him is every Tuesday night for like $2. It was ridiculous. You could go to this place called Mississippi Whiskers. I
Hmm.
don't think it's there anymore, but it was a club. And I mean, in the audience, it's like I have a friend who was in the audience when he played in L.A. with great band, and he said if you'd have blown the building up, you'd have killed like 90% of the great guitarists in the world because they were all in the audience.
Yeah.
So,
It was
so
probably like at Dante's or something, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one. Petrucci was the bass player, I think. So anyway, so I went in and I, met him and everything, and he was just the nicest guy. I mean, he wasn't, oftentimes when people are that amazing, they can be condescending or something. And he was just the sweetest guy. Oh my God, that was my first impression. It's like, what a nice, welcoming person, And so then I went in and took my first lesson, and it's like I didn't know anything, I was like 20 something, 22 or something. And but I was trying to learn, and he would show me this stuff, but I think I got more stuff by watching him. And what I got wasn't the technique stuff. That came later on. I worked and developed that stuff, but it was just that he would like start playing, and the atmosphere in the room, sometimes it felt like you were floating. It was just so powerful, what the feelings that he was, broadcasting through his guitar. It was indescribable.
Yeah, I think Bob Thompson, that I interviewed just recently, not that long ago, mentioned, probably something very similar to what you're saying. Like, and I wish I would have got to see Lenny live to experience that, but I'm guessing not very many musicians were able to transmute that much emotion
Yeah.
through their fingers into their instrument out.
Yeah, you insert your soul into
Right?
your inanimate object and shoot it out of the air. I've seen two other people. One was Stevie Ray, and the other one was Roy Buchanan. That I felt like, oh my God, I feel like I'm floating,
Cool.
So, but Lenny, yeah, he's the guy.
Well, that answers two of my questions that I had. So how many lessons did you take with Lenny?
It's hard to remember because that was like in the mid 70s, but it was like more than 5, but less than 10 because it was $50. And at the time, I was working at Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, and it was a bad part of town, let me tell you, at that point. And so I'd work for tips. And so strangely enough, it was the best paying job on the street. I think Erlene Mandrell was across the street, and she was making $15 a night. And just so it was really depressed area at that time. And so I was making like, sometimes $100. Woo! And so,
Well, even $50 is a lot of money for back then.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was worth it. I mean, the $50, but I had to save up for it, and I had to really budget to be able to do it.
Cool. What was taking lessons with him like?
He knew so much more than I did. I mean, I was a good little country guitar player when I was a teenager. I started playing with famous people when I was 18, I think. So I was pretty good at that chunk. And so I was down there doing that. And so I knew that stuff really well, and I had all the technique and all that stuff. But the first thing we played was Take the A Train. I'm going, what? What is this? I've never heard of it. And he said, yeah, man, you should get a real book, is what he said. So I didn't know it, but then I would go home and try to figure out what he had talked about. I wish I would have recorded it. That would have been amazing. But
Yeah.
didn't.
I know what you mean. There's probably been a few lessons that I would have liked to. One lesson I tried to record, except it didn't work. I came home and there was nothing there.
Disappointing.
Can you share a couple things that you stuck out to you, that you learned in a lesson that you still use today?
With Lenny, it was the harmonics and the comping thing. Totally what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The harmonics is just like magic, man. I mean, I think I said it in a clinic. Is that you can play more than one note on one string at the same time. This is the secondary activity, entertainment. So if I play a note there and pick it there, I have 2 notes, right? Get it? So I can go, let's see how many I can get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If I wasn't talking, you'd probably be able to hear them, but I can get 11 notes on 6 strings. Ah. Right, and they're all ringing at the same time. So there's all sorts of applications for that. You can get interesting chords, right? You can get that weird chord, an A7. And you can get a ton of naturally occurring harmonics to appear. The problem is that this is E, A, D, G, B, E, right? So they're all going to be based off of there unless you put a capo on or something. So there's some things, and where I would use that is in Pantera songs. Would be like, I'll do this, entertainment section. Places like this. Right, so you can use them like that, just to play little songs and things, and it's just it's another variation. And when you're playing guitar, especially like solo guitar, you need variations. I studied with a guy named Lenny Breau, right, and Lenny Breau did this thing where he would, instead of playing the harmonic like this with one finger and a pick, right, he would play it with his right hand finger and pick it. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I'm just putting my finger on there, the 12th fret or whatever, whatever fret, and I'm picking it, right? So this opens up a huge, doorway of things you can do. And where he got that was a Chet Atkins song called "The Bells of St. Mary." Jeez. The only part I ever play is this part, so. Right, so I'm picking it, and then I'm playing another note. So what that makes me able to do is this. Right, so I'm picking a harmonic on my 6th string, playing the open G, harmonic A, open B, D, E. So you get... It just immediately creates an atmosphere. And Lenny would, oh my God, the things he would think of. That and the comping thing. The comping thing is where he would take this, the
third and the seventh, yeah.
Yeah, the 3rd and the 7th, and manipulate that, and then you can add on a sharp 9 if and get crazy chords like that. And it's just, you can immediately read anything and comp for yourself. So those two things, I think, were the biggest things, other than just, wow, that's what we're supposed to be doing, is like, making the air turn into something different,
Right. Yeah. Were you influenced to the degree that I was, that you started playing a 7-string guitar and everything tuned to an A? Did you have a 7-string guitar?
I know.
No, you don't? Okay.
I only got a 6-string, and those ones are hard enough. Bob's got one. Bob's got one.
Yeah.
Thompson's got one that they did he show it to you?
Yeah, well, he's got the picture that I have on the thumbnail. He's holding it. Yeah.
I forget the story exactly, but I think that it was for Lenny, but he didn't want it or some crazy thing like that. So it's definitely a Lenny guitar. And the problem with me not having the 7-string is, after a certain point, you can't get the stuff off the records anymore, because it's
right.
Impossible with the 6 strings.
Yeah, I had mine built. I designed it and I built it about, had someone build it for me about, well, it was around 2002 or 3, somewhere in there, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I forget the guy's name who built them. Ah, I can't remember. He just passed away not
Tom
that.
Holmes, is it?
Is that it? Yeah, I can't remember.
Because I think you have
Anyway,
the same. It was built by the same guy. It's just that yours is a six string and Bob's is a seven string, right?
yeah, yeah.
I,
Well,
I think so. Yeah. I mean, do you have
most of
it?
the time I play my Telecaster. I
Oh,
still play
okay.
my Telecaster, which was, you know, one of the people that Lenny copied a lot. Also was a Tele player. You know,
Right. Who was that?
I'm trying to think of his name. Um, Starts with a B. My gosh, I could look it up, but I
Well,
don't
maybe
think.
you could think about when it comes to you later. We'll
Yeah, I know.
you
I'll
can.
wake up screaming at about 3 in the morning.
Adam texting me. I remembered.
Oh,
Um.
his name, you'd know him. He's Canadian guitarist.
Oh,
Just
Ed Bickert.
yes, thank you.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So did he ever talk about Ed Bickert at all, or?
No, all the stuff we talked about was music stuff.
Okay.
It wasn't there. Not really much into his life. Other things.
Well, how did you come privy to know that he was into Ed Bickert?
Well, for one thing, I mean, I think I read it someplace, but if you listen to Ed Bickert, it's like, oh my God, here's the guide tone thing and all that other stuff. Is like, and I forget where I read that, but he was a big influence.
Yeah, yeah. Because I've do you know Lauren Lofsky?
Yeah,
I've interviewed him too, and I've taken a couple of lessons from him back when I lived in Toronto, and it was
say it the
beautiful.
right way.
Well, it was beautiful being able to go see Lauren Lofsky or Ed Bickert play back when he was still playing, because
Yeah.
he retired a long time ago before he ended up dying. But I asked Lauren if he knew who influenced who came first, who thought of doing that type of thing first, and he wasn't really sure. And then neither was Ron Forbes Roberts too, either, who wrote the book on Lenny, the book on Lenny, the
Yeah.
book.
Oh yeah, that's right over there.
Yeah, I asked him the same question too, and he wasn't really sure either.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You should play this club. It's called Lenny's. It's
Yeah.
up in Westbrook, Maine. Bill Umble owns it. It's a really nice place, and it's the studio where Lenny would record when he was 14 or something. When he did
Oh,
Bowfinger.
that's okay. 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 Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Upstairs is the studio, and downstairs is the club. And so, I mean, if you listen to that album, it's like he's doing Chet Atkins at that age, just like
As
unbelievable.
Chet said, better than I did it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it says on the wall a quote from Chet that says Lenny was the greatest guitar player in the world.
Right.
If you want to get hate mail, put that on Facebook or something.
Yeah. 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 Any other interesting stories that you know about Lenny while you were living in Nashville? Or
I mean, it's just that when I would go over there well, here's one. Buddy Emmons, Buddy Emmons, the steel player.
yeah. Yeah.
He heard that I was studying with Lenny, and he came and saw me play. Oh my God, just that was the kind of value, that knowing Lenny even, and I mean, Buddy Emmons did that album with him, Miners Aloud or whatever it was, and he came to see me play because he heard that I had studied with Lenny, and of course I was boom chick, boom chick, boom chick. I wasn't that advanced, especially in jazz at that time. So, but
Yeah.
it's like wow. I mean, just my stock went up just because Buddy Emmons came and saw me play.
So then he said, I have a recording session. Come with me. Let's
Yeah,
do some recording, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's how it works, right?
That's it. Yeah, yeah. But no,
Um,
yeah,
let's talk about your teaching, because you do teach at Berklee, and from
yeah.
what I gather, you're kind of well liked as a teacher. And how would you describe your teaching philosophy, and what make your method so effective in your opinion, I guess, or maybe other people's opinion too?
Well, yeah, I was just saying it the other day, threatening one of my students, kind of.
Hmm.
I said, there's two kinds of teachers. There's gatekeepers and they're mentors. And I'm a mentor. My students are my children. I keep in touch with them. I have so many, students that have gone on and become famous. Just, you think the artists that I played with this long, it's just like all these kids over the years have studied with me. And so I'm much more of a mentor, and I literally do think of them as my children. I take care of them. I invite them to my house for thanks. Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings, they
Hmm.
came to my house for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And,
cool.
I mean, I take care of them as my children.
So Gillian took lessons with you?
She
Did
took
she?
she took lessons and she took a class. And here's the thing that I'll never forget. I was talking about the Carter family and playing that stuff. And after class, she was just, aghast. She was going, "Who is that? I mean, where can I get more of that?" And before that, she was like a Joni Mitchell clone.
Mm.
Her parents were writers on the Carol Burnett show, and so
Oh,
she
okay.
came from
Interesting.
that environment. And also Dave Rawlings, who's like the Ornette Coleman of that kind of guitar now. If you've listened to him, it's amazing. He plays the wrongest notes, and they sound great. Anyway, so she came up and she was
You know
totally
why though? Because he
what?
plays it with intention, right?
With intention. That's right. Yep. Play it like you mean double down.
Yep.
Yeah. So she came over and after class, and they were really good friends. It took a lot of ensembles and all sorts of different things that we did together. But that moment I always think of because that, in my mind, changed the course of music history. They went to Nashville, and I think they were among the very first ones to start really moving towards that rootsy, what's Americana now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she had a big influence, and so did Dave. Dave also, he had a free ride. He had a full scholarship to MIT that he turned down to go to Berklee, right?
Wow.
And have to pay, right? So he's a smart kid. He's not a kid anymore,
Yeah.
but I think of him as a kid.
Right. Other than those two that you just mentioned, is there anybody else that has kind of made a name for yourself that were former students?
Oh, like Corey Wong was one.
Okay.
He didn't go to Berkeley. He went to another school that I taught at in Minneapolis. Susan Tedeschi. When I think of Susan Tedeschi, she's such a sweetheart. And when I first met her, her family owns a chain of Tedeschi, a chain of convenience stores. And so she would come to school with like 6-carat earrings on and stuff like that. And she was singing this real Linda Ronstadt, really soft ballad things and trying to learn how to play guitar. Fast forward, the next time I saw her was at like a state fair, some auditorium someplace, and she sang like she sings now.
And she's married to a terrible guitar player as
Yeah, I
well,
know.
right?
Yeah, too bad. Yeah. Sheesh, that guy's unbelievable. She's amazing now too.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a
Yeah.
good artist, and yeah, so I feel like that's what I do as a teacher. And it's
Okay.
like when I think of art, it's like artists, we're supposed to be making, changes in the world, making, having an influence on the world. So if I've done anything, I feel good about the people that have studied with me. Now there's a guy, Luke Black, have you heard of Luke Black?
No, I haven't. No.
The major bluegrass guy. He's up and coming. He's amazing. And he took one of my classes. There's so many of them though. Because sometimes I teach classes with 500 kids or 1,000 or something. And so who knows? But to answer the question, I feel I'm a mentor,
Well,
not a gatekeeper.
it's funny that you brought those two different camps of teachers up because maybe just in case someone is questioning that, like I am right now, how do you see the difference between a mentor and what you say as a gatekeeper?
Well, currently I have a couple of students and they are late for every class. And so just like the music business, if you're late one time, like if you do like audition for something like a Broadway musical, even anything, if you show up late, everybody knows, it's common knowledge. If you show up late for that audition, you're going to be late for every rehearsal. You're going to be late for the gig. So being early is being on time if you're a musician. So that's what I was talking about the other day. It's like you have to be on time. And if I wanted to, I could fail a couple of them just on absences and tardiness. But I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm trying to help these kids. Because who knows what they're going through, maybe they're carrying a heavy load and that's why they're, late for classes and things
Right.
like that. So
Yeah, it's hard to say. You can be very judgmental quite easily
yeah,
if you're uninformed,
right.
right?
Or if your ego,
That's
there's some
true.
teachers that would take that as an insult, like, how dare you be late for my class? And that sort of thing. I've had a couple of those. Oh man, I had a couple of teachers. Oh my gosh. I won't mention names.
Yeah.
My
Well,
first day at Berklee, 9 o'clock Monday, I'm sitting next to this kid. He was from Alaska. I'll never forget it. And the teacher comes in. I won't say his name. Starts writing stuff on the board, and this kid noodled just a boom, and the guy turned around and just increased my swear word vocabulary about 80%. And I thought he was going to attack him. Right. So that's what it was like when I was a student there.
he invented swear words
Yeah.
on the spot.
In a construction family. I know.
Was it an improvisation class? Because he improvised some new swear words, I guess. Yeah.
You know what it was? Do you know that book Melodic Rhythms by Bill Libet? It's
Okay. Yeah.
it's Dillinger method applied to eighth notes, and it's like it's really hard. And so that was the class. I mean, I couldn't read, my name.
So maybe the kid was even probably trying to play something in the book, probably,
exactly.
right? And then it's
Well,
like, how dare you?
Yeah, I know. And it was an ego thing. It's like, how dare you? Here's what happened though. So he heard somebody in another room play something and he thought it was that kid. And I really thought he was going to physically attack him. So those were the good old days.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there
yeah.
are bad teachers and there are good teachers. I hope I'm a good teacher.
Back when you could smoke in class, right?
They did. Everybody.
Yeah, I know. Same thing when I went to college. And then speaking of that lateness, I had a college professor that was always telling everybody, if you're an hour early to the gig, you're late.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of true because you don't know, especially here, in Boston, the traffic is unbelievable. So you never, it'll take me like between a half hour and 4 hours to get to work, so you do have to kind of be early.
Yeah, New York's not that much different. If you want to get somewhere,
More logic.
you gotta budget.
Yeah, yes.
With all the years that you've been teaching, what are the most common obstacles that you see players face, whether beginners or advanced players? And I guess to include, have you noticed a change in that over the years? Like, is it different things?
Well, for the over the years thing, I think back to COVID and everything was online. We had to teach online and these poor kids, they were online for however long that was. And then they came back to school and they didn't know how to be around other people. And they looked at me like I was like a video that they could turn off, that they'd just start talking to each other. It's like, wait a minute, So that's kind of gone away. However, let's see. The biggest one that I think is ego. And I feel so bad. I mean, I have a couple of first semester students and they think that they know more than I do. So, I mean, if my ego was screwed up, I go, oh, brother. But I feel sorry for people who their ego is so tied up in their music because they're going to be depressed a lot of the time.
Especially when they get out to the real world.
Exactly.
Because they're going to have their you-know-what handed to them.
Yeah, exactly. Immediately.
Yeah.
So I always say the same speech, and it's the truth. I mean, in my lifetime, everybody who had those egos and were like condescending in the jazz police and the blues police and all those people, first they turn into drug addicts, and if they don't die from that, then they turn into religious fanatics, and then they completely stop playing music. So I feel sorry, and that's the biggest thing that I mean, the other stuff you can take care of. For instance, Dave Rawlings and Corey Wong. Do you know Corey Wong? Have you heard of him?
I know of him. I've never met him, though.
Yeah, when I met him, he was an okay guitar player, and Dave was an okay guitar player, but they worked their butts off. So, like us, so if you work hard, that'll happen. But the thing that'll stop, you have a cat, but the thing that'll stop
Yep.
it, um, uh, the
I got
thing that,
two of them actually.
yeah, I do too. They're in the other room. Um, so the thing that'll the worst thing is the ego thing,
Right.
because they're just not going to make it, because it's just such a roller coaster. Even for me, I mean, there was a time in my life when I did probably have a big ego, but I play in front of 60,000 people or something, and they'd be going yay, and so you think, wow, this is and then you go to like the next day a little bar and you suck. Your playing is okay, and so it's just like this roller coaster. So it's impossible. So I would say, of all the impediments, that ego and that sort of thing is the biggest. And P.S. Lenny didn't have one. He was just welcoming to everybody, never condescending.
Yeah, I think it was Denny that I
Yeah,
heard in an interview talk about, like, he was sitting in a bar with Lenny listening to a guitar player that didn't really sound too good in his opinion. And I guess he turned to Lenny and said, "Well, what do you think of this guy?" or something like that. And Lenny's like, "He's got a great tone."
see,
Like, he never said anything bad about anybody. Like, always looked for something good in
yeah.
any situation, right?
Yeah. Danny's like one of my best friends. He is also just a sweetheart, just a wonderful person, and an amazing guitar player. He can do the Lenny stuff. But we're
Yeah.
both the same thing. I'm still working on the stuff he did when he was a teenager, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I guess maybe with my experience with teaching, I just noticed that the attention span has been severely lowered.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just COVID. I see it like every year sort of getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. The phones and immediate, our phone
Yeah.
is like 20 times more powerful than the computer that they use to put a person on the moon,
Yeah.
so constantly doing that. And that's
And it's only that small. It doesn't take up a whole room.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh my God.
And then I think you know, and here I am, a YouTuber of sorts. I try to be teaching information on YouTube, but maybe there's so much information out there that's easy to get, is that I notice that people don't search things out the same way. Like, in other words, they don't try to learn things by ear.
Right.
And that's a huge, huge, huge element that is missing.
Right.
Because
I
back when
know.
we were younger, we had to figure things out by
Exactly.
ear.
We had to take a needle and move it like one groove over,
Yeah, yeah.
with a turntable.
And various type ways of trying to slow it down, whether it's just putting your finger on the turntable
Right,
or
right.
something
Oh
to,
my
like,
gosh.
yeah. Or if
It's
it's
a bit
a
harder.
33 and a third record,
Right.
and you try and slow it down to 16 and try and
Exactly.
think of what the notes would be up an
Drops an
octave.
octave or something
Yeah.
too. Um,
I remember sitting down and figuring out a song from my dad's record collection. It was called Scotch Boogie, from this Canadian guitar player called Ken Davidson. And I probably sat there for hours and hours doing exactly that, reaching up, picking up the needle and moving it over, and
yeah.
until I finally learned the song. And then I played it for my dad when he came home, and he was like, "What?"
Yep.
but
Exactly.
but you know, between that and well, I was going to mention this later, but between learning stuff by ear and learning on the bandstand, that's how I learned.
That's how I learned.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
yeah. That's the best way.
yeah, yeah. And then college came later.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Exactly. After I studied with Lenny, I said, "Well, I'm going to go to." I was touring in Canada. Oh my God, it was just beautiful where I was. All these places, and I just decided, I've gone as far as I can, so I'm going to go to school. So that's why I went to school. Yeah.
okay.
But you know what? As far as oral, AURAL
Hmm.
learning, there are people, if you're dyslexic, it's hard to read music.
Yeah,
So there are visual learners and there are oral learners. And I'm probably both now. I'm probably you too. But I actually, if you know of somebody, I got a grant and I created.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that
Yeah,
later on. If you
yeah,
want to hold off for that for a
okay.
little bit, if that's okay.
That's totally cool.
You're
I
you're
didn't know.
ruining my flow, man.
Sorry, I didn't know you knew that.
I had just one more question on teaching or whatever. And what are some of the things that you feel is effective for your students, and what makes you stand out as a teacher? I guess I kind of already asked that.
Well, there are some things that I was actually going to do this for that other video that we talked about. Note location
Okay.
is a big one. It's like I studied with this guy, Mike Stern studied with him. All these famous people studied with him. His name was Charlie Banakis, and he would just rail on guitar players because we don't learn anything above the 12th fret. He says everybody else learn, saxophone. You practice all these different ranges. You guys don't do anything. I wanted to say that notes sound kind of crappy up there, but so he came up with a bunch of note locations.
That's the ukulele territory.
Exactly. A capo on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually probably a good way to learn, is just put a capo and then pretend you're playing everything down there.
Exactly. Mick Goodrick said a guitar is three instruments. It's the vertical aspect, the horizontal aspect, and then open position. Because there's things you can do in the open position, like with a capo.
Yeah.
You can't do anyplace. Voicings, that you can't get anywhere else. So there is that.
It's like playing three-dimensional chess.
Yeah. Oh man. That's Star Trek. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about your songwriting and stuff like that, and your other side of your things. I was surprised to learn that you won some awards from both BMI and ASCAP.
Yeah.
How does your songwriting process begin, and does it differ from your approach to guitar playing and improvisation? But before you answer that, maybe briefly mention what BMI and ASCAP is for those who might not know, because not everybody is into the music business that maybe we do, that we know what BMI and ASCAP is.
Right. Well, they collect royalties and run the business aspect of counting up the money. And there's two, BMI and ASCAP. BMI, I joined BMI because the Beatles were on BMI, right? So that's how much I
Right.
knew at that time. And people have said ASCAP is better for the writers and BMI is better for these people. But now it's going the other way, and now people are saying BMI is a better one. They're pretty similar. They do the same jobs. It's just their business structure is a little bit different.
Yeah, and there actually is, just for a fun fact, a third one, CSAC, right? That's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
that I think was at least it started more geared towards country music, I think,
yeah, I
if I'm
think
not
so.
mistaken.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm pretty sure. So with that, I was in a band for 10 years with a guy named Tom Hambridge. You probably
No.
haven't heard of him. He's the guy, he became famous or whatever as a producer because he produced Susan Tedeschi's first album. And we were in a band together and we would write stuff together. And so, I mean, as far as how do I write or how do I approach that? These days, I really like instrumentals and stuff like that. I haven't, but I do work on still songs with words in it, and
Otherwise known as lyrics, right?
I think so. Yeah, not to get too technical.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I had a couple that were hits, regional hits they were regional hits here in Boston and different, strangely enough, different part, of Florida and different places wherever it gets distributed. And I was actually singing as well. And I was a rock star, And so that's, 80s and early 90s kind of rock and roll.
Right. Okay.
So that's where all that junk came from.
Okay. What do you think makes a melody memorable?
If I knew that.
The $1 million
I
question,
know.
right?
I'm not going to tell you. No, the secret.
Speaking of gatekeeping,
Yeah. I got a friend. His name's Daryl Scott. Have you heard of that guy? He
No.
wrote a whole bunch of songs, and he's like a really good lyricist. And we used to play in country bands up here when I was a student and he was a student, so we became very close friends. I was just texting him, and they just gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Americana music people, and he writes just endlessly. I mean, what he studied was writing.
Mm.
So he writes in notebooks, and he'll write and it doesn't make any sense at all. And then he'll go, "Oh, this is this," or maybe
So
he'll
it's
come.
almost more, sorry to cut you off, but more like a stream of conscious writing that he
Yeah,
does, and then then he takes a little piece of that and tries to do something with it. Then.
exactly. And the thing is, you'll write it, in whatever this year, and then 2 years later, you'll go, "Oh, this goes with this." It's crazy how your brain works. As far as the music part, I mean, I was the first. Well, I've always known. This is a crazy one. I've always known Chopin's Polonaise number 6 in A flat because my mother was practicing it on a piano when I was inside when she was
Uh-huh.
pregnant with me. So one day I said, "Why do I know this song inside out?" And she said, "Oh yeah, I was playing it when you were, isn't that crazy?" So I think,
I'm gonna have to let this guy out here soon.
okay,
I think he wants to use the toilet or something there.
yeah, yeah.
But I'll let you finish just real briefly before I do that.
As far as melodies, I mean, my brain is so full of technical stuff that I want to go into that, right?
Uh-huh.
Like intervals or something like that. And for me, I mean, I think if it sounds good, it is good. I can't summarize it much better than that.
I do tell my students something similar. I say, like, knowing theory is great and awesome, and it can help you out in so many ways. But really, the final judge in theory is, does your ear tell you it sounds good or not?
Exactly. And I'm sure you were like me. I learned most of the stuff I knew, I learned how to play music before I went to school, and then I went to school and I learned the names of that stuff that I
Right.
already knew,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very
So
similar. If you like anything, you can study how a melody works and try to put as much of your study into something, right? Because like I've studied how to how to play jazz lines, like
yeah,
a lot. You know what I mean? And you could almost say that I've got it down to a science, but it's not necessarily. Hopefully I don't sound formulaic,
there's
right?
the
This is an
omnibook.
approach, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's an omnibook. And the thing is, you have to, that's not even the part of your brain you use when you play music. I mean,
right.
the thinking part here is having a conversation. It's like, shut up. No, you shut up. Right. It's like that. And then the dinosaur, your amygdala, is the part of your brain that was a dinosaur and is hiding under a rock kind of a thing. And that's who plays. So you have to play so many times, whatever it is, that you don't even think about it. And I was thinking of the Omnibook with the jazz lines and stuff like that. You can go through that and read it, and I think it's much more important to just listen to that music, whatever music you like. I mean, I think, to really good music, like with Chet Atkins. It's a type of thing, and it's just immaculate. It's perfect this way. And then Lenny was like even beyond that, and I think listening to good music is the key, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just style specific, but in general, like you say, like, because I like you, I would imagine we like more than just one or two styles of music,
Yeah,
right? And not
professional.
only just like them, but can appreciate them for what they are on their own merit, right?
Yeah,
But if someone comes to me and says, I want to learn jazz, well, how much jazz are you listening to? Right?
right.
I want to play blues. Well, how much blues are you listening to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to know what it sounds like before you even
right.
have something to reach for.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's going to be a scale, a blues scale. Oh, it fits over this. It has nothing. It's about vocabulary,
Right.
it's about, and you take whatever, Charlie, Roy Buchanan. I was a huge Roy Buchanan fan for a while. He's still one of my favorites. And I listen to that stuff and it's vocabulary, it's like words,
Yeah.
So,
And that's the other thing too, is like, I don't think, I knew from a very young age that this was a long tail endeavor, that I knew I wouldn't see the fruits of my labor for years and years and years. And a lot of people, especially these days, don't have that patience. They want it to happen right now.
immediately, yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a while. I mean, I'm still learning so much. And one of my mentors was this guy named John Laporta, and he's just the who's who of, he's played with everybody, did. And he was like 80, in his 80s when I studied with him. And it just, every word he said was huge, and he was still learning, the other thing though is that, like you, I'm sure we have to make a living. So I played. I grew up in Minnesota, right? So I started out playing polkas because that's where the gigs were. And
Right.
so then I did Chet Atkins, and then I really got into the blues for a while, and I still love all these things. I still love, well, not so much the polkas, but and then I was in a rock band, a big rock band for a while, and then so I love all those things. But it's all about what we stand on our father's shoulders. I think that's a bad misquote of a Chinese proverb of some
Yeah.
sort. Stand on our, so I listen to Chet, or I listen to Lenny, and it's like that. So yeah, you're right. We're in for the long haul, but that's the good news.
Yeah. 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 You have something to look forward to
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
getting bummed out that it's not happening fast enough.
I've met people that are really great guitar players, and they don't. I'm not going to learn anymore. I know everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
That to me, that just sounds so weird. Wow. That just
yeah,
sounds bizarre.
that would be depressing. I
Because
mean,
every time I pick up the guitar, practically, I went, "Oh, wow! Well, this is something different
yeah,
that I've never stumbled across before." Like, it
it's
doesn't necessarily mean that I'll remember it, but like, wow, this is crazy.
it'll come back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
Well, let's talk about your somewhat newfound technology gig.
wow. So
Something else that I've learned recently that I find really interesting is that you received a grant to develop technology that helps sight-impaired musicians read music notation and maybe even beyond that. Can
yeah.
you tell us about this project and what inspired it?
Well, good question. I used to use Finale software, and I was writing. I was actually orchestrating stuff, mostly for like off Broadway and plays and stuff like that. And a really good Cuban piano player, big band thing, and so I could do it pretty well. I can hear that crap, and I'd taken a lot of arranging. So at some point in the mid '90s, everybody switched to Sibelius, and Sibelius is supposed to have an interface for blind people and sight impaired people, and so
I'm
yeah,
still using Finale.
yeah, yeah. Don't get me going.
Yeah.
So Sibelius. So all of a sudden, I started whenever there was a blind student or something like that, a sight impairment of some sort, I would inherit that student because I had this software and I knew how to do it after a while. So after a while, I started going, man, it's like really hard. How's everybody else teaching blind people? Because what I was doing, I said, okay, take out your phone. Okay, put your index finger on the second fret of the sixth string, and and just slowly go through these things. And I just thought, there's got to be a better way. So I thought this was going to be so easy. So I applied
That's
for a
the
grant.
most famous words you could say that happens to me like every 3 days.
Oh my gosh! I thought it was going
Every
to
time
be
I
like
start something.
I thought it was going to be like a scam because it's going to be so easy. So anyway, I went through I don't know how many different ways. I hope this isn't a bad thing to say, but Sibelius did not work at all for the sight impaired. And then I tried all these like 5 or 6 different things that were totally supposed to work, and nothing worked. It was so the poor poor blind people, they're so screwed by this, right? And think of like Ray Charles. What would the world be like without Ray Charles? And we could go on and on with all these people. And so I tried all these things, and I was supposed to have it done by last September. So in August, after doing all this research, I talked to the Perkins School for the Blind is right up the street. I talked to those people. There's a school in Austin, all these people. And the things they said were, well, that's kind of going to work, for this stuff. But what I came up with is so simple and so stupidly easy, but it took forever to do, is I can show it to, I could send you a link.
Sure.
It's all you got to do is figure out, for Mac, it's voiceover. So I'm not going to say it, but if you say, hey, you know who, turn on voiceover, it will. And voiceover will read stuff. So I would write out, that stuff like sixth string, second fret, third finger, D or something. That's probably not where it is, but and so then I wrote that out and then turn on voiceover and just one continuous sentence. And so I had to come up with all these little tricks, like with dashes and periods and all these different punctuation things. And then it would read it. And the thing about voiceover is like thousands of languages. It can go by at any speed you want. You can stop it and speed it up. So it's just Microsoft Word and that stuff written out. So I did the entire Berklee, all 8 semesters vocabulary. Oh my God, it took forever. But that's it. It's so simple. But in a way, it's simple. You have to do specific things, and it took me a while to figure out what that was. But that's it. It's and everybody has Microsoft Word. Most people have Macs, and if you don't have Mac, you in Windows, it's JAWS. So you can do this trick and it will actually read it. And so then, so blah, 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 put your finger on this. And then I would export the movie, MOV file, video, and it would, with a link. And so they go, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then click on the link, and then it would go to a place that actually played it. You can speed it up and slow down. And if you're like dyslexic or there's oral learners, people who have a really hard time learning by looking at something. And so they could look at it, and there's the the tablature and all that junk.
Yeah.
And so it's just, that's the thing I came up with. And it seems silly, but I tried everything. I just on and on.
Well, it almost seems like maybe your grant doesn't cover this, but it almost seems like there just needs to be taken, just all that technology, just taken one little bit step further, so it's more refined, and you don't have all these glitches and things and workarounds that you have to do to make it work, right?
There were so many things. I mean, there is music Braille. I mean, you can, like the Perkins School has this huge library of music Braille. I'm a guitar player. I got fingernails on this hand and calluses on this hand. How in the heck am I going to, with one hand, So there's that. PDFs, they won't read them. Sibelius, it wouldn't read them and read it back. And so it just, it did not work. And here's the thing. When I brought it up to my boss, Kim Perluck. She said, why don't you try for a grant? But I was going to say, we really need this. I would have done it for nothing. In retrospect, I would, because it just took hours and hours and hours.
Well, especially when you thought, oh, this is going to be easy, right?
I thought I was just going to put everything in Sibelius and then boom, that would be it. And that takes like 5 seconds for me, to put stuff in Sibelius. So anyway.
Well, that's great. If you send me a link, I'll maybe put it in I'll leave a link in the description on the video.
Okay.
If ever anybody is interested and wants to check it out.
Yeah.
Let's change gears again here. You've crossed paths with some heavy session players like Hal Blaine and Abe Laboriel Jr.
Yeah.
Were you on recording sessions with those cats, or?
Well, Hal Blaine, that was just a clinic. We did a clinic together. Wow, what a time field, though. Gosh, he was a real nice guy. With Abe, he was a student here, and then we played with Noel Redding Jimi Hendrix's bass player. What a great drummer. I mean, oh my God, he would hit the drum so hard that the, auditorium would explode. And he's also just the nicest guy. And that's how I know Abe. And then he graduated and we did a bunch of stuff when he was a student together. So it's not really,
And his dad is a famous bass player, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And he also used to teach at Berklee way back. And his brother, too. He's got a brother.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Is there any stories that you can share with either maybe Hal Blaine or anything like that?
Well, the one with Noel Redding with Abe was interesting because
Okay.
it was like Spinal Tap. He had the accent and everything. He had the attitude. Oh my gosh. And so he somehow, I don't know where he got it. He got a glass of Guinness or something like that. And I just remember them saying, you can't bring that out, we're going to be playing in front of students, and you can't bring that out there. And he says, well, if this doesn't go out there, I'm not going to go out there. And so they let him bring it out there. But his attitude was like that. So that's one story.
Yeah, you have to kind of smile with people like that because,
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, probably no harm was done, right? No harm,
Right.
no foul.
No harm, no foul. Another one. I just thought of a bass player. Another one is Kate O'Riordan, Rocky O'Riordan. She was in the Pogues,
Okay.
right? The people who invented punk, and she didn't tell me who she was, and so I'm treating her like another student, just like an ordinary person, and she's just like talking away, and
Well,
she
maybe she wanted to be treated that way too.
that she did
Yeah.
exactly. She didn't want to be. So anyway, she was in an ensemble, a playing band, and we did the first rehearsal, and there's like these it was a summer program, so it was like 15, 16, 17-year-olds trying to figure out, where notes were. And she played so hard, she broke her guitar strap. It's just like, whoa. So, wow.
Cool.
So that was a good story.
You
I
played,
just,
and then you've also played with Mark O'Connor,
uh, yeah,
who's not. I mean, a lot of people just know him as a fiddle player, violinist, but he's a multi-instrumentalist, really.
he's a really good
Right.
guitar player.
Yeah.
He did a residency at Berklee. That's how I know him. And
Okay.
I would do all these different things with him. And what I remember about him, he's a real nice guy. But the way his brain would work, you would say good morning, and it would be 30 seconds of his brain, and then he'd say good morning. Just the way his brain worked was amazing.
Wow.
Genius of high level.
It just goes to show you that there's so much neurodiversity out there, isn't
Yeah.
there? I was just trying to think of like a good way to. It just popped into my head of a good way to phrase that.
That's a good word, neurodiversity.
Um, there I go improvising again. Um,
Your forte.
speaking of like, now you've talked about like playing all these different styles of music. How do you shift between different gears of genres and stuff like that?
Um, I just don't even think about it. I mean, maybe gear wise, a
Mhm.
blues gig requires different music, instrument or whatever than like,
And the reason why I ask is to some people they would almost can't do it. I only do kind of basically this one thing, and I would feel so out of place doing
right?
this other thing.
I know a lot of really good musicians, good guitarists that are like that. They can't, it's almost impossible because you try to imply the stuff over something where that's not the language. You're speaking a different language, like the vocabulary stuff. So I mean, I don't think about it. I mean, when I just have been working my butt off for so many years trying to get enough money to make a living, that I learned that stuff. And so if I'm on a jazz gig, I play this way and I do this equipment. And if I'm on a blues gig, it's this. If it's a rock gig, whatever.
Right. So if it's a blues gig, I bend strings. If it's a jazz gig, I don't bend.
They're too big.
As if it was that easy,
Yeah,
right?
right. I do it.
What's the biggest musical takeaway that you got from working with James Taylor?
Well, I was in a band. Well, here, I was in a band with his sister, Kate, for a long
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And then my desk mate at Berklee, when I first started working there, was Livingston. So I knew the family really well. And here's the thing, their brother Alex, out of all the talent in that family, their brother Alex was a blues singer. And he was by far just amazing blues singer, just
Wow.
indescribably good. One of those people that makes the atmosphere change.
And what was his name? What was his name?
Alex.
Oh, Alex. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And he passed away at some point. Wow, I could tell stories. But anyway, so played with James because he would sit in with Kate.
Right. You mentioned that you grew up in Minnesota.
The middle of nowhere.
Yeah, one of my good friends here in New York, bass player, is from that area as well. Michael O'Brien.
Yeah. St. Paul.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly where he grew up, and then we kind of briefly went into it, but I wanted to know like how you learned. But you said kind of, but mostly by ear and on the bandstand first. Was that in Minnesota
Hmm.
that you did that?
Yep.
With that kind of oompah beat.
Yep.
Believe it or not, maybe that kind of trained you for the Chet feel,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
Because it's that oompah thing is almost buried in there. It's just a
Yeah.
different flavor of it, right?
Exactly right. Um, yeah, my parents would take me to these places. I was too young, 13 or 14. And so they would take me to these places, and that's the kind of music that was in my vicinity. I mean, really, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. When I first, like in third grade, the only people I saw during the summer were my brothers and sisters when we weren't in school. So, I mean, the town that I was near had a population of 96, right?
Yeah, that's even smaller than me because I was where I grew up. It was probably somewhere in the range of a 500 to 1,000. I don't even know because it didn't even have a population sign or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
right,
But
exactly.
but somewhere in that range probably.
Well, that's good for us. I mean, because all I did is play guitar. I mean, what
Yeah,
was I going to do
same
about it?
here. Yeah,
Went to a
if it was
store.
the winter time, maybe hockey.
Yeah, yeah.
But in the
Oh,
summertime, it was just and I wasn't really that into sports. I mostly played hockey because all my friends were on the team.
right.
But
We
summertime, I would just sit around and play guitar all day.
exactly.
Yeah.
We had to stop playing hockey after my sister knocked my brother's teeth out. Oh man. So my mom wouldn't let us play it anymore. But yeah, where I'm from, there's one of the coldest places in Minnesota, and it's this valley. So the temp, in the valleys is where the cold air sinks to, and so it was really cold where we were. Where are you
Mhm.
from?
Northern Ontario. Like,
Oh, okay.
do you know
Yeah.
where Sault Ste. Marie is?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
So you
that's
know cold.
especially when I was younger. It was very cold. I remember it being really
Yeah.
cold, but it's nothing like it was.
I know. Where I grew up too, like my sister told me they didn't even have winter last year. She
That's
said it,
crazy, right?
yeah.
Like, I
And
bet you remember snowbanks being like 20, 30 feet high, right? Like,
over our house once, and we had
yeah,
a
same
big
here.
house, and
Yeah.
it drifted, and it's like you're thinking, oh my God, like is it 100 feet tall or what? You
Yeah, I
know,
was probably about 8 years old, 9 years old one winter when that happened. It drifted literally right over our house. Couldn't get out the front door, or could only get out the
right,
back door.
right. My dad took out the window on the front door and shoveled his way out, tunneled his way out. Oh
That's
my,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So those were the good old days. Yeah, I've almost froze to death a couple of times. Um, got my car broke down and I had to walk a couple of miles and it was 30 or 40 below. So,
Yeah, I've been there, done that too. Not
yep.
necessarily breaking down, but just out of necessity thinking, well, it's not that far of a walk. And then you realize, holy shoot,
Yeah.
this is a far walk because it's way
If
too
it's,
cold to be doing
yeah,
this shit.
if it's 75, it's not too far of a walk.
Yeah.
When it's 50 below or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, one of the last questions that I have that it's I don't know how it got here because it's almost like out of order, but when you were at Berklee, what are some can you maybe name some of the teachers that had the biggest impact on you? In a positive way, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Not all of them were guitar teachers.
Yeah, yeah, no,
There were other
they
teachers.
don't have to be.
Yeah, this guy John Laporta, he was a huge influence, and just he taught me just crazy things like multiple tonic systems. We were really into Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth. That guy.
Okay, yeah. I
Uh,
know a little bit about Joseph
yeah,
Campbell.
he was a big deal for a while. And John, he had this voice like this, and he said, "Oh yeah, he was in the trio that would warm up for Joseph Campbell when he would speak." And he said the craziest thing about Joseph Campbell is it just was off the top of his head, and no cards, anything, and he was just brilliant man. But anyway, he was like third stream. He really started bringing the classical music of that time period into jazz, and so playing in more than one key at once, multiple tonic systems, that sort of thing. And that really, it's so ridiculously simple if you have somebody who tells you something that says it the right way, right?
Yeah.
A good teacher can say something in one sentence that just like is life changing, right? And so I try to emulate him. Guitar teachers, there's so many good guitar teachers there. I'm trying to think of
Well,
some.
what years were you at Berklee?
I graduated in '83.
Okay.
So yeah, once again, I moved from Nashville, which was the combat zone, to Boston, and it was just as bad. It was just like so dangerous to be around in. Man, I'd like it's much better now, and I've been assaulted 3 times in the last 2 years, twice in the last year. Assaulted. I know. So anyway, moved to the big cities. Yeah.
What area in Boston do you live in?
Downtown. Where that happened is the Back Bay is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where Berklee is, and it's the most expensive neighborhood in the country apparently. And I live a little ways, like subway half hour subway ride away. So it's nice, it's easy. So
Because I was just looking at Boston on the map. There's like something that popped out to me was Dorchester.
Dot, yeah,
Yeah, the dot. Yeah, dot.
Dorchester. I used to live in
Dorchester, yeah.
yeah, Dorchester, very good. That's where I lived when I first moved here. And I would have to, I would have to park my car, turn the wheels, and take off the distributor cap because so many cars were being stolen.
Wow.
So it was dangerous then, and it's Dorchester, or just Dot, right?
Right.
Yeah, Dorchester. I live in Brighton. These are neighborhoods. Technically I live in Boston, but then they have neighborhoods. So
Yeah.
I'm in Brighton. Actually, I'm in the Aberdeen neighborhood, but they say Brighton.
Okay,
So,
cool. Well, I've got some. We can wrap this up. I've got some rapid fire questions for you. Okay. And what I want you to try to answer them as quickly as possible and as short as possible, if you can.
okay.
Okay. The first song you ever learned on guitar.
Oh, geez. Whatever that song is, I forget the name of it. I think that's what it was. I think it was. I went through the Mel Bay books, and so it was probably Mary Had a Little Lamb or something. Really, technically, but I know what am I talking about? It was a song called. I learned a bunch of Chuck Berry stuff from a teacher that I had, but the first one I really learned that was impressive. Somebody told me to get a Chet Atkins album, listen to Chet, and I learned Wheels was the name of it.
Okay,
And
cool.
the melody is da 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 da, and I'm going, why is this guy so famous? This is so easy. And then somebody told me, no, he's also going boom chick at the same time.
Right. It's not another guitar player.
Yeah, So
So that almost sounds like Wheels. Did he? Because that almost sounds like another song, like Over the Double Eagle or something.
Under the Double Eagle.
That is,
Yeah, I learned that one at some point too. Always when I was a teenager.
the guitar you miss playing the most, or the one that got away.
I have this guitar here. It's a '67 Telly, and you can see I've had it since 1970 something.
Right.
So it didn't look like that when I got it. So it's been that worn out. And this guitar, I don't even have to think. My hands just go wherever they want, you know.
That's nice.
And I know the instrument so well.
Lenny Breau was.
The greatest, nicest, most brilliant, life-changing, sweetest guy you ever met. I almost choke up when I start talking about him.
A guitarist everyone should listen to besides Lenny.
Wow, you know who? I mean, it changes for me every day, but I still like Mike Stern. You know, I like that wacky jazz junk.
Okay, cool. The old
Oh,
fusion
I
stuff.
thought of another one.
Okay.
Ted Green. Ted Green.
Yeah, nice. One piece of advice Lenny gave you that still sticks.
Buy a real book.
That's a good one.
Yeah, learn
One
to
one guilty pleasure in life that you do that you maybe you can share.
a guilty pleasure, not food related. A guilty pleasure, jeez. Um, I usually don't feel guilty. There's something, I'm a serial killer or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't think. I mean, I just a guilty pleasure. It's my pleasure is just oh, I know. I sit with my guitar and watch TV and I play along. Drives
that
everybody.
sounds like me.
Yeah, yeah.
Much to my girlfriend's chagrin sometimes.
I know. That's what I said. It drives my.
Um, what is your like? I guess maybe you could say a hobby or go-to comfort activity that's not music related. Anything?
I, I work out every day, except I take a day off once in a while. So I work out really hard for about an hour every day, and I'm a vegan. I eat healthy food, so
Okay,
is that. I think
that's
that
cool.
that answer that.
Do you have a extremely funny or memorable gigging story that is still unforgettable to you to this very day? Any like,
Okay. Yes, I was just talking about it with my friend. That guy, Daryl Scott, you should check him out. Look him up. He's the best everything player you've ever seen. He can play any instrument better than anybody. And he's just an unbelievable songwriter. So we were playing a gig and we were playing, it was the Massachusetts Country Music Award Association. And it was there, 400 or 500 people in this big hall. And he said to me, I dare you to pick, because we were kind of, dissing these people, the run of the mill. I
uh
hope nobody sees this. People. And he said, I double dog dare you to throw a chair into the middle of the room, in the middle of this really quiet part of it. I think I could think of a funnier one maybe, but that I still think of that. It still cracks me up. I didn't do it, but I almost did.
I almost lost it.
I know.
Um, well, I guess this question is kind of one that you already shared is that you work out every day because there's something about that share something about yourself that nobody knows about that most would find surprising.
Gosh, what would be surprising
That
about me?
that most people don't
Oh, I
know.
know. I went to school to be a priest.
Okay, cool.
I was going to be a Catholic priest for about a minute and a half or something. Then I decided I wanted to be married, hang out with women, and play guitar.
Right.
So
I think you made a good choice.
yeah,
What is your non-musical superpower?
um, you're going to think I'm nuts. Uh, I'm. What do you call that? When I can feel stuff around me, like I can like when
You're
I
just
was.
sensitive to energies, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. And when I was a teenager, I had all of these incredible experiences, seeing the future. And I say that sounds nuts, but I would exactly see what was going to happen like 15 or 20 minutes before it happened. ESP.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't have that quite as much, but I still feel like I can I read Victor Wooten's book in the first one, and he said he wanted to find something on his shelf, and so he closed his eyes and went over and felt it. I've done that. I can find a book someplace, and I could just feel, I know this is crazy, I know, but
Now we're getting into Star Wars, right? Like
I know, but I swear,
the Force is strong with you.
I hate that about students all the time.
Yeah, that's happened to me before too. I was like riding my bike up and down the gravel road in front of my house when I was a kid, and then I just had this weird sensation for some reason that someone was going to ask me if I wanted a job, and I couldn't explain why or what. And not more than 10 seconds later, one of my childhood friends, whose mother, drives up and says, "Hey, we got a bunch of hay that we need to take in from the field. Do you want a job?" And I couldn't even answer her because I was stunned. I just looked at her with my mouth open and I couldn't say anything. And she looked at me like, this kid must be like touched.
I'm so glad you said that, because I'm not crazy. This really happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever really told that many people that story before.
Well,
And then final question.
mhm.
What does technique mean to you?
It meant a lot to me when I was a teenager, but technique to me means it's a means to an end. You need technique. There's a guy, Kenny Warner, Effortless Mastery, that guy. And somebody asked him that. He said, if you could have anything, and he's a monster piano player. And he said, "Well, more technique, of course.
Yeah.
Because if you have more technique, you have more things. And I have a lot of technique, just from doing all the crap we do. But it's like I say, it's a means to an end.
Yeah. Because I think to me, I'll tell you what it means to me is that I guess maybe in that Kenny Warner vein is it's not necessarily about how well you can execute something or how fast you can play something, because most people think that that's what technique is.
Right.
And I guess to a certain extent that's true. But to me, technique means how much can you get the hell out of the way?
Yeah.
So that it's an instant connection between what you're hearing in your head and your hands. So it comes out as cleanly as possible. That's what technique means to me.
It's the dinosaur part of your brain. That's what you teach. The thing with Kenny Warner, though, I studied with him for a while, and he had the best stories. He was a real baseball fan, right? So as the Yankees are on, and he's playing at Carnegie frickin' Hall, and he's got a little TV set inside the piano that he's watching the game with. I mean, that's technique when you're completely elsewhere, and that's what he teaches as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I don't sound that good when I'm watching Netflix.
if I can play along with the TV, but dun, 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 dun.
Well, Bobby, thanks for doing the interview. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. And also, if you come up here, if you're near the area sometime, we come over, and come to the school, do
Sure.
all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. With that, I guess we'll sign off and all the best.
All the best to you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
man.